نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم.
Lead us and all those who are prepared to teach us, will help them, and at the end of this workshop, will make us better teachers in Jesus' name.
In the quiz competition, which we have been holding for series of times now, we have been challenged through the series of quiz competition Bida Forum has been having, and we discovered that a lot of our students were failing science subjects in particular. And we know the drive of the day is science globally. So why should our students be left behind? And we stood up to call for science-based quiz competition. But in the last 5 years, we saw that students were failing mathematics and physics subjects in our quiz competition woefully. There was a year that no student scored even 1 point in the entire quiz competition of that year for physics. So Bida Forum decided to take a stride to have a survey of what exactly is happening around our secondary schools and why our students were failing. We had a structured questionnaire, and I'm sure if you still remember us, we came to your schools. We also visited the infrastructure, we interviewed students, we interviewed the principal, proprietor, and some sample of teachers. It is shocking to know the result that came out of that survey.
Engineer Dr. Baba Aliyu Haruna. In fact, we are together listening to what he asked and gotten assignment to go travel. He left yesterday and he asked you to represent him in this forum. You are well welcome. Members of the participants, ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome. So my own is to say welcome, but you know the topic, since we are a bit with that land, because we have been there also now, though at the higher institution for almost 3 decades, and there are a lot of problems. The thing which is effective strategies for classroom and social management is complex and multifaceted. You can see through their questionnaire what they discovered. And apart from that, there is lots more to that. Because, for example, you are thinking, even if there are teachers around, then they have their little problem of effective teaching, talkless of where they are not in place. So you discover that it's complex and multifaceted. But I believe the main speaker that we have, those problems, inshallah, will be addressed adequately. Thank you. You are welcome.
Alhaji Usman represented by Baba Aliyu Haruna, going to give his speech and also declare the workshop.
Alhaji Usman who is unavoidably absent. He requested me to come down from Bida to represent him. He sends his greetings. He has particularly asked me to talk to the participants, that you should understand that you have a unique position where you are today. And it's a position of trust. And certainly tomorrow you will be asked of what you have done. All of us have gone through people who are all students and you taught us. Today we are benefiting from what you have done. And certainly the younger ones will look unto you and they will obviously pay you back one way or the other, even before the hereafter. Unfortunately, about 2 days ago, I saw on a video clip where
a student targeted his teacher and he said he killed him immediately after leaving the school. So it's a two-way sword. It will be positive, it will be negative. When you are good to them, they won't forget. They will certainly remember. And when they remember, some of them will be in a position to pay back. Some may not be. But many of them will pray for you. And we will also continue to pray for you. So we hope you are going to make the best use of this opportunity. I have seen the list of the members.
This is very important simply because a teacher or an educator, there's a lot of things, complex problems that the teacher will have to solve. I believe that there are some classroom management. Now that is management indeed. What is classroom management? Well, classroom management has various definitions, simply because of the philosophical position that we look at it. Every scholar has its own perspective of classroom management. The perspectives are about 8. I'm not going to mention them, I'm not going to discuss them. One is the authoritarian approach. This approach is where a teacher or a leader in the classroom assumes authority, have a lot of rules, and therefore you don't listen to anyone from authority. So this person is very autocratic in nature. Then secondly, we have the intimidation approach. There are teachers or educators who intimidate who is in the classroom. When the students stand up to answer a question, if he didn't answer well, instead of him to correct him, say, you stone, you block, sit down. That is intimidation. Some teachers are like that. Some administrators are like that. They intimidate people simply because they want to have people ready to respect them. Equally, we have the permissive approach. This is the laissez-faire. This is a teacher who doesn't care. You call him the laissez-faire simply because he wants to be popular, and therefore whatever people do, it doesn't matter. So that's how you manage the classroom. Then, of course, we have the cookbook or bag of tricks approach. What does that imply? That implies where a teacher comes, there are rules, there are offenses, there are punishments. If you make one noise in the class, I'll follow you too. If you drag the chair, I will do it. So there are offenses lined up in the school or in the classroom, and there are punishments attached to it. This is very another approach. We call it the cookbook or bag of tricks approach. Then we have others, including the instructional approach. These are teachers who believe that the best way to manage the class is to have very good techniques of teaching. So they call it instructional approach. They do best in trying as much as possible to see that their lessons are very interesting. Then of course we have the behavior modification approach. This is very important, where teachers don't give punishment, but they modify behavior of an individual. Let me give you an example. For instance, you have a child in your classroom who after every 2 minutes he makes noise. What do you do? Instead of you to flog him, you time him. By the time 2 minutes is coming up, you say, Musa, answer this question. Musa will stand up, even if you didn't answer the question right, at least you have engaged him. So gradually you continue to extend the minutes, and then you elevate that behavior. That's what we call behavior modification approach. Then of course we have the social emotional approach. This is where the teacher, of course, and the students come together, they understand each other. The teacher is empathic about the students. Whatever happens in the classroom is very empathic. Because some of these rules, if you are not empathic, you cannot solve them. You find a teacher, student, you teach very well, you have all the instruction materials, but it's reserved. What happened? You find that something is wrong. It's not your teaching methodology. But then go near him, you will discover that probably he is that child who is an isolated child. People in the classroom don't want to talk to him. Not approaches. We can define our classroom management to be a set of activities through which the teacher establishes and maintains those classroom conditions which facilitate effective and efficient learning in the classroom. This is what we call classroom management. So you find that there are a lot of things that come into play by the time you talk of classroom management. All these approaches, in one way or the other, you have to employ it in your classroom so that you achieve effective leaders.
Take the mic, take the mic, take the mic.
I would like to give the clap for our great teacher, our great lecturer, in person of Sheikh Mala Yabadi or Dr. Mala Yabadi Alpha. Atama, 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 Labama, Atama, 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 Labama. Thank you.
For this wonderful presentation. And you have set the tone. I will quickly, may I, Chairman sir, and especially our other guests, may I request that before we round up and take good news, we take the second paper, since it's supposed to come alongside, and that is from Dr. Sharu Muhammad. He's now going to elaborate much on classroom management.
Has been very, very accurate and apt. That is to say, there is no other time one could have said that the issue of teachers, empowering teachers, should have been said at the time other than this. Why? Simply because, looking at it, how can you be talking about classroom management and other things where teachers are not empowered? If you don't empower the teacher, that is the educators, that is the teachers here, if you don't empower them, I wonder what you are going to do in the classroom. Do you want to be a teacher who is hungry? A teacher that has not fed very well? A teacher whose salary has not been paid at the particular time? A teacher whose salary is being taken bit by bit every month? Or sometimes in a month, a complete salary is not paid. I wouldn't know what I'm doing this idea. A teacher's salary was not paid. But I understand 50%, I wouldn't know what it is completed. So these are the kind of people you want to work very well in the classroom. There is nothing like classroom techniques I'm going to talk about without first of all talking about the state of education itself. For now, as far as Dr. Sharu is concerned, there is no standard in education. It's my introduction. There is no standard. How can we be talking of standard? Which standard? Who set the standard? What are the aspects? What are the parameters upon which the standards are set? A standard, we have our primary school do not even go at the end of the primary school. Do they even write common entrance? Are the interviews conducted properly? Do students, some people pass and some people fail? In the 70s, you have to pass. We are only 14 in my class. As far back as 1974, only 3 of us passed. But everybody used to pass now, right? Everybody is passing. Go where is the standard? Or are you telling me in the secondary school, we are couldn't get admission? Your son can work into business and get admission. In those days, if you don't pass, you don't pass. That's not where you go, you get admission. Or is it that now that you want to write your secondary something and you go to miracle centers and write your examination? Look at the polytechnic. Students were passing. They said, come and write your paper, write whatever. They said, no, I'm going to Jima. Somebody said, I will not bring people from the man. What is happening in Jima that you want to go and do? So what I'm saying is that X was broken before we can prepare for the letter. We have to speak the truth. And then we are taking the truth straight ahead before we go to what we're expected to do. If you want to achieve something from our education, let the truth be told. We need teachers of high quality. It is my introduction. The state government can spend upwards of 40% or whatever. Students can be in the classroom, maybe all the students can be in the school. If you don't have qualitative teachers, honestly, nothing will be achieved. You can prepare commissions or commissions. It does not matter. What is important is you have to work on the teachers, do the needful for the teachers before you can ever think of achieving anything at all. And we have what we call the NPE, that is the National Policy on Education, which says you want a free and democratic society, a just and egalitarian society, a united and strong and self-reliant nation, a great and dynamic economy, a land of bright and full opportunities for all citizens. If we want to do this, then you need teachers who are very talented, who will now translate policies into practices and theories into action. Therefore, in the 21st century, what we are talking about here is that you need teachers that will truly and that will be able to do what we are talking about.
Clap now if I do like this.
Session and then we'll have a break and come back and continue. At this point, we're going to introduce messages, and it's going to be like everybody here is representing a different segment of education or administration of education in the United States. So we're going to take good message of all of us. Brother of course, we want to play that we make it sharp and snappy.
Program is quite exciting. What I like the pioneers of this very program to continue on is this thing has to be coming at least in every academic session. If really there is financial backup, because most of our teachers, even within the private and the public, they have been dusted mentally. And that is why our two presenters are saying we need to be updated. We need to be updated at all costs. And I think AMIS at its own level is also trying to make the same thing. By 25th of this very particular month, we still have the same programs going to take place. They want to also upgrade and update the knowledge of their own members. So I will use this very particular forum to invite the Islamic Middle Start members and those who are willing to be part of us to please come to me and get the full message on how the program is going to take place. Thank you.
The invitation of this program. I quickly say, Bida Forum want to compliment the effort of the state government or the Minister of Education of the state. Because these are the type of programs or workshop that are supposed to organize for the stakeholders of education in the state. When you look at the rate of deterioration of education in this country, is disheartening. So, as my brother said, I have it in my mind that when I was born, when I'm born to give my will message, I will say that this type of workshop should be organized at least twice in every session, if there is enough.
As I was saying, I took a challenge to the forum, and I get to realize that the forum was of number and accept the challenge for them to invite us today as a body to participate in this wonderful workshop. It's part of its kind, and from the presentations and the positions of the speakers, in fact, they are all justice to the theme of discussion. And normally we argue for what is considered as the fact of what is happening currently. And I want to assure you, the speakers and the Bida Forum, that the replica of this discussion will be translated to our members in our meetings. We have to realize that Bida Forum, that Bida Forum as a community-based association working in line with educational sectors or quarters to ensure that adequate revamping of education in Bida local government. Not in Bida, but in the state as a whole. Because I'm not assured that this will go along more and beyond of what we are here for.
Anyway, I would commend the Bida Forum for organizing this unique workshop. It is a workshop to improve learning in our schools environment. And this kind of workshop has been far organized, locally, state level, and even at national level. But yet, we are yet to arrive at destination. In fact, instead of improving our school system, what we are seeing is backwardness. I'm sorry to use that statement, that is not right. As a teacher, we have to be honest and speak out the truth. Yes. And I will give an example. In those days, we've been having 3 students per seat. Migrated to 4, 5. Extended to sitting on the windows. It doesn't stop there. Floor sittings. Study under trees. And which one are we now? Our Katambas has come to schools. And the big challenge there is using our houses for school. The big challenge is there. The houses that have been affected. When they are having ceremony, either naming, wedding, or they lost a member of their house, it terminates the educational system of that student for that period, at least a week. It is embarrassing. That's why I say instead of moving forward on this kind of workshop, we are still moving backward. What are we missing then? We have to check. We have to go back to the drawing board. What exactly are we missing? So we can address that.
Good morning to you all. Yes, to start with a workshop of this nature, this is the third one the union is witnessing. We join on with SBMC last 3 months ago on this type of workshop. Other non-governmental organizations, this is the third one now we are having for this year. And we are very glad to have this type of workshop. And the union is saying a big congratulations to the Bida Forum. And actually, I'm happy what the MC had just said. The messenger of the ZCASA, that is Zonal Quality Assurance Standard Agency
of BOT Bida Forum, I personally wish to congratulate the executive of Bida Forum, ably led our brother Dr. Aisha for this beautiful initiative. This workshop, and then let me be specific, training and retraining is a key to success of any human being.
It is easy to be a teacher by profession. Think of how you settle your children. Think of how you monitor your house. Think of how you control your house. You will know it is not easy to be a teacher by profession. And alhamdulillah, workshop in a second, workshop in a minute, workshop in an hour, workshop in a day is very, very important. But the ability of you using it is very, very, very important. If not, you will spend the whole period of your service having workshop without getting impact. So please, use the opportunity. Whatever you think you are going to learn or you have learned, please utilize it.
And he said you should not consider what the chairman takes home. And not also consider what the vice chairman takes. So vice chairman, myself, I'm a teacher like all of us here. So what I take is what you take. So don't bother what the vice chairman, and just like you, I'm a classroom teacher like you. So I want to say that as much as we are not only defending or looking at what we get, when we get from the government as our appreciation, but there's a need that the government also look at it that if you are not putting
very wonderful, very, very wonderful. We thank Almighty God for sparing our life to witness this unique day. The workshop organized by Bida Forum is aimed at improving the capacity of teachers, both in the primary and secondary school level. And then, teachers, the education is key to development. And who are the drivers of the education is the teachers. And these are the group of workers in this country that have been neglected, relegated to the background in terms of emolument that they are being paid, the working conditions, honestly speaking. And if you want to address poverty in this country, address education.
Fundamentally, to help and improve development in Bida towards education, economy, and many other endeavors. This program has been organized in order to ensure that the teachers, who are very fundamental in the development of any society, are well trained. And this is why the Bida Forum decided to come up with this program.
You didn't tell me that you were ready for your PMP examination. How did you manage it? Because it's a very difficult examination. 200 questions you answer in 4 hours. Yes. And all the questions are OBJ. So some people think OBJ is easy, right? Go and try it. Go and try PMP. Indeed, even in Nigeria we know that OBJ is not that easy. Jump, right? Easy to answer, easy to prepare. Thank you, man. Are the ones who pay attention in class. The brilliant ones are the ones who want to know better. The brilliant ones are the ones that if you give them books, they will read. And that is why they are brilliant. Indeed, if you see somebody very brilliant, and you see 9 other people together with him, if you give them an opportunity to learn, the person who is already brilliant will grab the opportunity faster than those who are all those, right? So the fact that you are paying attention tells me, without knowing you personally, that you are people of high performance. So put your hands together for yourself. So this is a very simple way to explain retrieval practice. If I give you this passage to read, let's say it's a story, and you read it, and you think that you've understood it, and you are confident that if they ask you a question, you are going to answer, right? So you put it face down, then you try to recall. Another name for recall is retrieve, right? And that is why it's called retrieval practice. So you can recall by telling the story to your friend, or to your wife, or to your husband, or by writing about it. You ask yourself some questions, so you try to answer the questions, right? Or by teaching someone. All these are manifestations of retrieval practice. So that is what retrieval practice is. And naturally, in every class that our teachers teach us, they try to help us to practice retrieval. That is why we have classwork, right? That is why you have, at the end of every chapter in a textbook, there are questions, right? Practice questions. That is why, if a teacher teaches something, he gives assignments. Yes. But, even though this thing has worked for decades, for hundreds of years, we don't pay attention to it. We do not pay attention. Because there is this company, an Australian company, they consult for schools, about 1,500 schools all over the world. In South Africa, in America, in Europe, all over. So they wanted to know that what is the secret of straight A students. In fact, that is why I got the title of this book. I said, what is the secret of straight A student? I told you a story about Professor John Donlowski, who wanted to know the most effective method, right? But this one, they wanted to know the secrets of all the students. We have 1,500 schools. Many of them are doing different methods. Some of them are Catholic schools, some of them are Islamic schools, some of them are Montessori schools. They are using different methods. Now, together, what unifies the straight A students, those that perform above everybody? And when they crunched the numbers, they got, John Donlowski got 2 answers. They got 13. But when they examined all the 13 answers of what brilliant students do, they say one of them was better than all the remaining 12 combined. And that is retrieval practice. They said, if you go into a mathematics class and you want to know who is the most brilliant, even if you don't know the students, they said, Madam, how many questions have you solved in mathematics? Probably it says 50. How many? Give me any number. 20. Give me any number. There's any number. Then, I know my organs here will give me better numbers.
I will write 71.
So, from 71 to 20, someone said 10. He said, according to their own research, the person that has solved more questions is usually the best. Whether he got those 71 questions right or wrong, that's very important. Whether the answers are right or wrong is usually the best. Then we'll break for prayers. Then when you come back, you do your presentation. Right? Okay. Here are the instructions. This scenario. A school wanted to eradicate white failure completely. I wanted to set down
one goal system.
One goal system. What should the school do? That is number one. Take picture now, take picture. You say, all of you say you have smartphone, right? Take picture. Somebody from the group can take it. How to learn during crisis. I think one of the reasons or way to learn as the method to learn during crisis is e-learning, that is electronic learning, which is conducted by electronic media. I remember during the COVID-19, I went for home lessons, which is one of the reasons that is method of that is learning during crisis.
Based on the analysis we made in our group, we concluded that a school can eradicate failure of YL completely based on two things. One, to completely change the mindset of the learners towards understanding to the questions being given to us to solve about. According to the first questions about the a school wanted to be eradicated while failure completely. Solution being to that, first and foremost, cheating of the exam should be stopped by each and individual schools. It has to be stopped. Then right from starting point of the examining from the young, that means from the junior classes, before the lessons, if it is primary schools, from before they said the primary schools are taking common interests, junior YX and YA.
My name is Charity Olayinka. I'm here to represent my group, and the number one question says how to eradicate failure in white completely in our schools. I think first and foremost, what I want to say is that we should check the scheme or the curriculum we are using. when we go down to the curriculum, we will see that some schools are using the outdated curriculum 2012, 2019, and some schools are still using it. And when you use it to teach your students, you will see that they will be lacking behind, whereby there's new curriculum. So we should check the curriculum we are using. This one down to the schools.
The person should have background knowledge of the company is applying for, and you should know you should have a little bit knowledge of the questions they are, that maybe the past question they may have been given.
Good afternoon, everyone. Question number 1, problem identification. When you are about to kill a problem, first of all, you must get to the root of it. Then after when these problems are identified, then it is now left for the school to develop a plan on how to address such problems. These problems could come in form of lacking skills. If so, then the media classes should be provided. If it is from inadequate resources, then possible and essential resources should be made available. Question number 2. The answer to it is by having access to internet, which is using of the smart devices. These devices will come in form of desktop, laptop, smartphones, Microsoft Teams, and Google.
The first question there, we have to look at the first question and the presentation made by the doctor. Yes. What doctor was trying to fish out from this question is how are we being able to relate the question with what he taught? Yes. Yes. And what you need to understand here is the tribal method is the best method. Secondly, the second question there,
when there is war in a place, some years ago, we've been having a COVID-19 problem in Nigeria, and it's a worldwide. So we can learn through electronic media as well as my counterpart.
Honorable colleagues, my name is Mohamed Jibril Halaji. The first question here, I think the first thing to be done if we are trying to eradicate WAEC failure in secondary schools started from our employment procedures. We should make sure, or the school or the management should make sure that the employment is on merit. Because when you have unqualified teachers, even if you give them standard syllabus to teach, they will misguide the students.
Eradication of exam malpractice. As administrator, first of all, I will encourage total and effective teaching and learning in the school, so that the students should know how the knowledge of what they are going to write in their examination. Secondly, I will encourage my teachers to do justice to the syllabus. They should make sure they cover all what we have in the syllabus and teach through the basic method of WAEC standard. They should make sure that they give question and test, classwork and assignment to the students regularly, so that they will be familiar with the question and
soldiers to death. You can't send people to war without guns, right? Same way, no school should graduate students without 3 skills. 1, the public speaking ability. That is the most important. 2, writing ability. 3, how to generate ideas. We don't have time. I will have given you one template on each 3. However, let me quickly comment on the questions. Like number 7 said, you were number 7, right? Number 7 was the first person to crack it. I was teaching you about retrieval practice. You would expect that I will ask you a question regarding retrieval practice, right? The other question is about innovation in teaching. That is, when crisis happens, how do you survive? It has happened in recent past before where schools could not even pay teachers' salaries because students were not coming to school. Those that were at home were paying half school fee, so teachers were getting half salaries too. So the most important answer to that is whether you are a big school or a school with one classroom, you must have a web presence. There must be an online class so that when crisis comes, you just naturally move to online because you're already used to it, your students already know it.
Augusta, almost a couple.
Classroom management. Classroom management is simply ensuring that the aims and the objective of teaching is being achieved without compromise. Hence, we conclude that the success of an educator starts from successful management of the classroom. If the classroom is managed well, there is likelihood that the educator will succeed in achieving his aims and objectives, which is teaching and learning. Whereas, if the classroom is not managed well, the opposite be the case. So, as such, like I said earlier, ensuring that the aims and objectives of teaching is being achieved. So, let's look at types of classroom management. Basically, we have 4 types of classroom management. We have the authoritarian classroom management, the authoritative classroom management, the permissive classroom management, and the indulgent classroom management. The authoritarian classroom management has to do with a situation where the educator fully or has full control of his classroom. Whereas the authoritative classroom management involves the educator sharing the control of the classroom with his pupils. In this case, the educator allows some level of contribution, level of contribution in the class by the students or people. We also have permissive classroom management where there is no level of control and involvement by the pupils. In this case, is almost or somehow related to the authoritarian classroom management, where the educator has full control of the classroom management. But in this case, he allows the people to have some level of involvement in the participation of the activities of the class, but it should be in a low level. Then we have the indulgent. The indulgent classroom management involves low participation of the pupils and also low control. The educator does not allow the people to have high level of control of the classroom. He allows them to participate, to involve in the activities of the class, but in a low level. Then we look at the principles of classroom management. We have promptness. That's number 1. To be prepared. That's the educator should be prepared. Productive, polite, and position. We look at the factors affecting classroom management. Number 1, subjects. The subject to be taken or offered by the educator highly affects classroom management. The subject you will take depends on how the class should be managed. We discover that taking mathematics is entirely different from taking any art subjects and the rest. So one should be able to identify the subjects. Then the other one is age of students. You will discover that the level of participation or how you manage your class when dealing with children possibly below 10 years will be different from the approach you use when dealing with students that are a bit matured or are at the level of poverty. Then we have size of the classroom. Possibly the larger the size of the classroom.
As a result of time, I will not bore you much with too much talk. I will be very, very brief. We are all educators, and I think what I was saying will actually help us a lot. We are all aware of the poor quality of academic performance, and this is actually a cause of concern in society. And this is attributed to many factors. We have parent involvement, we have the community, and we also have the social issue that affect education. So we are going to take them one by one. The first one is parent involvement. So, yes, it's still the same thing. The parents, we all know the parents of our pupils and students. And the more involved the parent is, I don't want to be reading too much, the more involved the parent is in the education of the child, there's a great difference between that child and a child that the parent's involvement is very minimal. You see, as a result of the economic situation now, most parents run after money instead of taking care of the children. You see that, and it has a lot of issues on the child. So there is no topic as far as education is concerned that is more important as parent involvement. So that's one. And the direct influence that the parent has on the child cannot be underestimated because it cannot be compared with the influence of the teachers or influence of the or any other influence. The parents' own influence is the most important. So as a result of this, the parents' positive attitude and support towards their children's education is highly considerable and it should not be relegated to the background. Let's like this. So let's just do the communication. Teachers and parents actually have to collaborate together as a body for the success of the child. You see, when